Hello folks, this is Gabe at Security.org, and today we're reviewing the ADT home security system. If I had to decide which is the most recognizable brand on the market today, I'd say ADT hands down. Do they deserve this distinction? Let's find out. If you want to see a list of our favorite home security systems, Google Security.org best home security systems. If you have a question about today's review, leave a comment below and I'll get right back to you. Today in our review, I'll discuss what comes in the box, how easy it is to set up, how easy it is to maintain, its professional monitoring service, customer support, and the app. Before I jump in, let's talk about ADT and Protection One. It's a little bit confusing. You might Google ADT, end up with a document that says Protection One. You might sign an agreement that says Protection One, but elements of it are ADT. You download the app, it says ADT Pulse, but your products all say Protection One. Well, there was a merger that happened a few years ago between these two companies. They thought that they could really help each other out, so they merged into one. So ADT and Protection One are the same company now. And when I was on the phone with ADT, they told me that whatever you order will come as Protection One. So that was my experience, and I just wanted to make that clear before we jump into the review. In my ADT system, I got the keypad, motion sensor, door and window sensor, keychain fob, glass break frequency detector, indoor camera, and smart lock. So let's start with the keypad. Now the keypad is different in the fact that it actually still has buttons. There are two buttons at the bottom along with the touchpad that allow you to control everything in your system. So you've got your speaker on this side, your touch screen, and two buttons that allow you to call the police, call for a fire, or arm and disarm your system. So the base also serves as the touchpad. It's pretty easy to work with. You simply take it and put it on a desk, plug it in, and you're ready to go. These are the door and window sensors on the ADT security system. They are almost identical to every other system in terms of what they look like. There's always one larger piece, one smaller piece. The larger piece goes on the frame of the door or the window, and the smaller piece goes on the part that actually moves. So essentially, when these get too far apart, they will alert your system that a door has been opened or a window has been shut. Unlike the door and window sensors with the ADT security system, which are essentially identical to every other door and window sensor, the motion detector is different. The design looks like, I don't know, like a sunflower underneath the typical part. This is the only part that essentially is akin to other motion detectors. In addition, this alarm.com manufactured motion detector has interesting mounting hardware that I've not really seen before. But what we really care about in this sense, beyond the aesthetics, which I'm not the biggest fan of, is how well it works. And in this case, this motion detector has a lot of capabilities. It will see everything inside of a 35 by 40 foot room. And in New York, very rarely are we in rooms much larger than that. In addition, it can actually distinguish between pets and animals depending on how high you put it. It's better than other motion detectors in terms of being able to distinguish between the two. So with those capabilities, we're definitely ahead of the game, and even more so when you look at the fact that it has a 7-year battery life on it. So those are my thoughts on the ADT security system motion detector. The ADT system also comes with this keychain remote. I actually really liked this remote. It's all black, sleek, very New York. You do have these little figures that kind of let you know what to do. You have the disarm, the away, the stay, so that it's armed but knows that you're in the home, and your panic button. So with this, you can come in and out of your home without thinking about arming the system on the keypad or using your app. You can do it all directly from here. So that's the keychain fob remote for the ADT security system. Included in the ADT home security package was the alarm.com manufactured indoor security camera. It comes with the typical white and black with matte right around the lens and a glossy perimeter. I actually really liked the extent to which it can rotate and swivel and just extend itself. It's a pretty flexible camera in that sense. On the bottom, you've got your rubberized mat so that you can place it onto things easily. And on the back, you've got your power adapter and Ethernet port. So overall, just a basic design with a very similar aesthetic to a lot of the other indoor cameras that we've seen. at Security Baron. So let's jump into Security Baron's necessary features test to give a quick rundown on how well this camera works. So when it comes to the necessary feature of video quality, the Alarm.com camera does come with our standard 1080p high definition video. However, it lacks when we talk about its field of view being only 113 degrees. We like to see at least 120 degrees there. Now, on the actual app on your phone, you can do some digital zoom, but the zooming capabilities are limited. So 1080p, great. 113 degree field of view, not so great. So let's look at its audio options. So fortunately, when it comes to the necessary feature of two-way audio, the Alarm.com camera for ADT does come with two-way audio. So you can talk to someone in a room, they can talk back, you can yell at someone in a room, and they can yell back. So you do get two-way audio with the Alarm.com manufactured camera. Night vision is a Security Baron necessary feature because you need to be able to see what's going on in a dark room. And fortunately, there are two infrared LED lights on the Alarm.com camera so that you can see exactly what's happening in the dark. And while it may not be the most infrared LEDs, it's definitely adequate considering where this camera sits in the market. Here at Security Baron, we like to see both local and cloud storage as it is a Security Baron necessary feature. Now, with the Alarm.com powered camera, the ADT Protection 1 system does not come with local storage. However, inside of the app, you can save all types of clips with the cloud storage that's built in. So local storage, no, but cloud storage, ample space. Unfortunately, when it comes to the Security Baron necessary feature of smart platform integration like Amazon Alexa, Google Assistant, Apple HomeKit, we're not getting much from this camera. So you're not able to speak to it using your Echo or your Google Home, and that's a bit unfortunate. So when it comes to smart platform integration, this camera doesn't have it. Finally, much like the Security Baron necessary feature of smart platform integration, when it comes to artificial intelligence, this camera is a bit disappointing. There are no artificial intelligence options. You don't have any person detection or facial recognition, so you are completely reliant on the professional monitoring services of ADT. Included in the ADT home security package that we purchased is a Kwikset manufactured smart lock. Now, smart locks are very useful, but before you jump into why that's the case, let's talk about the construction of this piece. It comes with various pieces, the deadbolt not pictured here, but this part goes on the inside, this part goes on the outside, and we actually bought the satin nickel version, and it's basically made out of metal, feels very hardy, and definitely gives an impression of being a very substantial lock. However, it's a smart lock, and so what does that mean? It means I can open it directly on my computer, in the app, or by typing in the keypad. Now, you may have someone who's a little bit more old school, like a grandfather who just doesn't want to be bothered. You can give them a physical key and they can always get into your home. So there's options to unlock and lock the door regardless of the way you want to do it, right here with the Kwikset Smart Lock with the ADT home security system. Now, of course, my favorite are signs and window decals. These are very important. You put these up in your yard, on your windows, so that any potential intruder is deterred by knowing that you have a home security system that works, that your home is being professionally monitored, and you're monitoring it with all of the sensors and alerts that are going directly to your phone, and you know what's happening at all times. So don't forget about your yard sign and window decals. So now that we know everything in our ADT Protection 1 system, let's talk about the process of setting it up. Well, the fortunate thing is they simply pre-program the entire system before it arrives at your house. So when it gets to you, it's ready to go. You plug it in, you call them, and you activate it. So there isn't too much to be done related to figuring things out, except for when it comes to your indoor Wi-Fi camera and your smart lock. The camera is a little bit confusing because of this Alarm.com manufacturing versus the ADT app. Ultimately, they are the same, but when you're going through the process of setting up your indoor Wi-Fi camera, it's definitely useful to do that on a computer. So I set it up on a computer, I used the back of the box, and I was ready to go within 15 minutes. I just want to make a quick note on installing your Kwikset Smart Lock. Now, if you've ever installed a deadbolt lock before, it's essentially the same process with, of course, a few electronic components. Now, when you're setting it up and you're not using an expert, you will just follow the installation guide that comes with it. You could even watch a few YouTube videos on that process. And you're gonna wanna, of course, remember to take out the battery pack and reinstall it in the system. To summarize the overall convenience of setting up the ADT home security system, I'll say the following. It's great that everything is pre-programmed. You don't have to really do much once it arrives at your home. You do need to call ADT to get a few bits of information and to ultimately activate your system, but your time on the phone with ADT can be limited, which is not what I can say for a lot of the other systems out on the market. So I was able to do almost everything without even calling them and getting it ready to go. Of course, adding in the lock is gonna take more time, but generally you can probably have the entire system set and ready to go within an hour. So now you're thinking, all right, I've got my whole system set up. It was easy, it was convenient, I'm safe, I'm secure. Well, hold on. I'm here to tell you that maybe you aren't. Well, you are for the time being, but what about when you're tied up late at work or you go on vacation? Well, that's when it comes down to your 24/7 professional monitoring. So let's talk about what that means. 24/7 professional monitoring means that no matter what's going on at whatever hour, there is a team of trained professionals at your disposal to dispatch the proper authorities in the case that one, they can't get in touch with you, or they call you and you say, I need the proper authorities. So that is what we're talking about when we say professional monitoring from ADT. Now, with that professional monitoring, you can also get environmental monitoring. So with the environmental monitoring system from ADT that can basically work seamlessly with your professional monitoring, you can get a CO2 sensor, a flood sensor, a smoke detector, and a panic alert button. So these are all options if you would like more services built into your professional monitoring. While we didn't buy those for our system because we have multiples already installed, we thought that that's something you should definitely know about as a part of the professional monitoring package. Also, I'd be remiss not to mention the cellular connection that you should get as a backup to the system. You have landlines that can be cut, power lines that can be cut, and you want to have a cellular backup, and you can get something called Safeguard Cellular Connection with no additional contract as a part of your professional monitoring package. Now, when discussing the package, I'd love to be able to tell you exactly how much each thing costs, but that's really dependent on the components that you buy and your ability to negotiate on the phone. So while the professional monitoring starts at $28.99 a month, that's very dependent on the services that you want and the pieces that you have. So I can't tell you all the pricing information. That is going to be very much based on your conversation with the sales representative at ADT. Being an old school company, it shouldn't come as a surprise that they're also old school with their contracts. And with ADT, you are signing a 3-year contract. Now, as I always say, you want to read your fine print, see exactly what you're signing, know that there is a refund and return policy, but just be careful for when exactly that is triggered for your system. So be cognizant of the 3-year contract with ADT. Whoa, quick break, let's take a second. Each month at Security Baron, we are giving away a $200 Amazon gift card, and the rules to enter are simple. Subscribe to our page, leave us a comment, and you'll be entered to win a $200 gift card. Let's get back to the video. Now that we've talked about the calls you don't want to have with professional monitoring, let's talk about calls you really hope to not have to make with customer support. Now, there are a few options for customer support with ADT, and honestly, they're pretty awesome. You've got the ability to live chat with someone on the internet. You can call them directly. You can dive into the deep trove of information on the website or on the app, or get this, and this is new, you can FaceTime with someone at the company. Ask your question and get answers. So that's pretty impressive. Now, in our experience, there was a bit of a wait while calling, and that's probably just because ADT is one of the most popular companies for home security. Now, if the customer is always right, then that does not bode well for ADT when it comes to their Google ratings, which are just 2.6 out of 5 stars. And all of the reviews mentioning customer support were negative. Now, a lot of those reviews had to do with billing issues, specifically related to canceling the policy, and what happens when you move. Be sure to read your fine print. So let's move on to the Better Business Bureau, which ADT has been accredited by since 2013. Now, they really do not do well here, despite giving an A+ from the Better Business Bureau. Remember, the Better Business Bureau only really talks about whether or not they're advertising truthfully and complying with government guidelines. When it comes to reviews, however, there were over 3,400 complaints, which may be expected considering they're the largest company out there, but they only got 1 star out of 5 in terms of their average review. And a lot of those reviews had to do with the products and services. So that doesn't bode well for their customer support. When it comes to customer support, as we've seen from the Google and Better Business Bureau reviews, it's a simple yikes. However, we're mostly going to be interacting with the company and its products and services through the app. So let's see how they fared there. So with our system for Protection 1, we actually use the alarm.com app. It seems that a lot of home security systems are moving towards just kind of making that uniformity in that app available. So in the alarm.com app, you've got 4.4 ratings in both the App Store and the Google Play Store, with the vast majority being 5-star reviews for the alarm.com app, which is used by ADT. So let's jump into it. So now we're on the home page looking at the ADT home security system in the alarm.com app. Now, right on that first page, you get scenes at the top that allow you to just quickly set the arming of your ADT system. And in the middle, you just have system armed or disarmed. So I would push on that large shield. The options for arm stay or arm away come up with a orange shield and a red shield. Now, if I continue, I can go down and see if I've uploaded any recent images taken by my camera. I can go into my locks, or as you can see right here, this is the live view of me recording this video, all available right here in the app. And below that, I like the nice little touch of the weather. And the weather has the zip code of where I live, and voila. I can make that full screen, as you can see there. I'll get out of that, and let's go back to this home page. Now, before we go into the settings or the history options, let's look at that lock. So we have the smart lock set up, and I tap on what looks to be the unlocked. I can hit the red lock button, and you'll hear the system arm itself, or rather hear the lock itself. And that's our system locking. Now, if I hit settings in the top left corner, you see a host of options come up. You can say a lot of things about the alarm.com app, but you can't say that it doesn't come with tons of different options. So now I can hit scenes, which gives us what we see at the top of the home page: home, away, sleep, and wake up. I can look at the security system, and I see in the security system that my system is currently disarmed. I can arm it. If I tap there, I can turn off entry delay, for example, so that there's no time between the moment I hit that arming and the moment that it's actually arming the system. I can look at my living image sensor, my front door, my window 1, window 2, see that they're all closed. I can go look at the images, my locks, which I've just done, unlock the system. If I had a garage door, I could look at that. I can look at video here. So what you have in that home page, you can also go specific with the video. You can record. So you can record a clip of that video there, and it becomes available in a couple of minutes. If I had lights set up under my service plan, I could set them up there. Same goes for thermostats. And then I can go and look and manage my push notifications. So those are the notifications that are sent to your phone that you'll always capture. Now, for geo services, I can set that up so that anytime I leave my home, the system will arm itself. App setting, of course, I have an iPhone 10, so I can actually set it up so that it reads my face or just simply takes a passcode. Below that, you get tips from alarm.com. So because I have an iPhone, it's giving me Siri shortcuts. I can take a tour of the app, contact support directly. And so what's interesting there is you can call the Protection 1 phone line. You can submit a ticket explaining what your issue is, and even set a time for them to call you back. That's really useful, and I really appreciate that as a customer support option. Now let's go back to our home page, and in the upper right-hand corner, I can look at the history. So this tells me all the things that I've done. So it says 12:18, unlocked. 12:16, I locked the door. I logged in successfully at 12:05, and it tells me when I opened and closed the front door. So 11:05, closed one, 11:02, I opened it. My living image sensor was activated. That's just another word for your motion detector. These are all things that you can look at in your history, and one of my favorite capabilities built into the alarm.com system. So this is us checking out and giving our impressions of the alarm.com app as it pertains to the ADT Protection 1 home security system. So now we're looking at the base hub and touch keypad for the ADT Protection 1 home security system. Now if you look on the left, there's a large speaker, microphone, and you have two buttons below the touchpad. Now with the plus button, I get options to call the fire department or the emergency services, and if I hit the home, I go back to my home page on the touch screen. So let's jump into that touch screen now. Now, initially looking at the touchpad, you've got your date and time on the left, which changes in every few seconds in an interval with the forecast for the day, which is a nice touch to be able to look at that and always know exactly what's going on around you and where you are in time. Now, the important elements of the touchpad, of course, are found in security and services on the right side of the screen. So if I hit security, you get three options: ARM, menu, and status. So let's jump into that menu to begin with. So I hit menu, and I get ARM, emergency, and toolbox, and below that, chime and voice. So I'll just show you what it's like to turn off the voice.
Voice announcement off.
And turn it back on.
Voice announcement on.
So this will essentially tell you whatever you're doing in the system. Now if I hit toolbox, I have to enter the code to access, and boom, I've got user management, system history, system test, bypass sensors, brightness and volume, and chime setup. But let's go back to that first one. Now the fast way is I can hit the home button, hit security again, and go down to status.
System disarmed.
And now I know where I am. So, okay, I've not armed that system. So let me go ahead and arm it. Hit back, go to the arms, and now I can hit stay or away to arm my system. So if I hit stay, it'll know that I'm still in the home, or away.
Arming away. Exit now.
Now this is your delay, and you want to always keep that delay so that it doesn't immediately arm when you're leaving the home. Now I don't actually want to arm my system right now, so I'll go ahead and hit disarm.
System disarmed. Ready to arm.
So you must always type in your 4-digit code whenever you're arming or disarming the system. So let's go back to that home page. So this is how you manage the various services that are generally connected by Z-Wave technology. Just another couple of things you can do on that front page are control the screen itself, turn it on or off, which is useful. Hit it back, and I can control the volume. I can do a silent exit, entry delay. All of that is controllable directly from there. So that is the base hub and touch keypad for the ADT Protection 1 home security system. So let's check out the video quality on the indoor security camera that comes with the ADT Protection 1 home security systems. Now it's got crisp 1080p video, as you can see right now, and it only has a 113-degree field of view, which isn't ideal, but it's definitely capturing everything in this room pretty well. Now we do have digital zoom capability, as you can see here in the Baron Den, as I've named this camera. Now, if I go ahead and use the globe, you can actually pick up on the countries pretty well, especially as I go in and do our digital zoom. So this is the Alarm.com manufactured indoor security camera that comes with the ADT Protection 1 home security system. So here I am checking out the night vision on the Alarm.com manufactured indoor security camera that came with my ADT Protection 1 home security system. Now it has 2 infrared LED lights on each side of the camera, but it actually works pretty well. It's pretty adequate, and while it may not be the best night vision we've seen on an indoor security camera, it's definitely not the worst. So let's give it a little globe test, see what's happening. You can actually see pretty well on this globe. Use the zoom in function. I'll come a little bit closer. And yeah, you can capture everything on this night vision. So we've said a lot about ADT Protection 1 security system, and ultimately what you want to know is it right for me? And I'll just say this, the customer support is underwhelming. The 3-year contract is a little bit much for us. However, if you want one of the most popular and trusted professional monitoring services in the game, ADT can provide that. And it's honestly a very easy system to get up and going. So ultimately, you're gonna have to do you, but those are our thoughts on the ADT home security system. So that's our review of the ADT Protection 1 home security system. If you appreciated this video, give us a like and hit that subscribe button. As always, this is Gabe at Security Baron. Be secure.